Make sure I'm centered here. Okay, the backdrop is sweet. What's up, everybody? I am Johnny Ray. No co-pilot today. My partner in crime is doing some stuff. Dan Hillman is off today. So I'm going to try to fly a solo mission. You know, it's time to get real with your recovery. Okay. I'm tired of the whining. I'm tired of the frustration, and people need to realize that, like, we're all in this together, and none of us have no stress in our lives. Like, none of us know how to act or know how to behave all the time. It's like, that's what recovery is. It's recovering from all the crazy stuff that we've done throughout our active addiction. That's what it's all about. So I have no partner today. I have no Amanda Whitfield. I feel so lonely. I have no Dan Hillman. I feel so lonely. I asked my buddy Bo, and he was like, I haven't got my teeth fixed yet. So yeah, I just put him on blast. So I am here in my office, just hanging out, thinking about things that I need to work on. You know, sometimes I forget that people are extremely sensitive when they first get in recovery, and even years after being in recovery. I don't ever want to be a hindrance, you know, and I am not perfect by any means, but I work hard to be where I'm at every single day. So you can call that arrogance. I call it pride. You know, I call it confidence. I strive every day to better myself, and that's through hard work. Like, I work really hard at what I'm doing. I dedicate my life to my recovery, right? And I help others in their recovery. But man, there's a lot of haters out there. You know, there's a lot of people that frown on the way that we do real, raw, you know, unedited, unprepared testimonials and recovery. But the people who are fresh in recovery are starting to recognize that the raw is so much more real than the cliche things that they've heard their whole lives. I am here to be controversial. I'm not here to be liked, and I'm not here to make friends. I'm here. Hi, Cheryl. It was so good seeing you. Look, I'm by myself today. Isn't it crazy? It was so good seeing Kyle's mom. You're an amazing person, strong and funny, and I'm so thankful for Kyle in my life, you know, and it was just good spending time with you, Cheryl. Going to Sean O'Donnell's a couple nights ago was great. A lot of fun we had. It's really good to see where Kyle and I started at and where we're going right now. We have a lot of stuff planned. So for all the people that are not ready to get on board, take a back seat, because the people who are on board, we've got a lot of stuff coming up. I've got all these ideas. I've got all of these things that I want to continue going, but I can't do it without the people who are dedicated to helping this situation. We are not just a network. We are not just a program. We are a movement. We are a recovery movement that goes out every single day and embraces people and take their stories and use them to help others in recovery, right? We are a movement. We are going to be an ever ongoing movement. We can change, we can integrate, we can adapt. We can do whatever it takes to fit the current profile. Oh, hi, Melissa. Love you. Check out Melissa's testimony a couple weeks ago. Amazing. Absolutely wonderful. It's good seeing you. As you guys can see, I am by myself today on a squeaky chair in my office, but my backdrop is rocking. Dude, the Marvel, the comic book nerd, this is a happy place for me. So, you know, what we've done in the last couple weeks, in the last 3 weeks in particular, is we've worked on our AAAs, and I'm going to explain what the AAA is. We started with affirmations, right? Self-talk, positive affirmations of oneself. I'm smart. I'm capable. I can do amazing things. I am not a victim. I don't need people to coddle me. I say coddle a lot. I use the word victim a lot. Okay. We are not that. We are not incapable of doing great things. We are capable of doing great things. Okay. Those positive affirmations. I'm smart. I'm funny. You know, I have a witty sense of humor. I want people to dig deep into these subjects. Okay. When you go around a circle of 30 people, and when you ask them to do a self-affirmation, to me, it seems like we're really good at giving ourselves self-doubt and self-negative talk, right? But self-positive talk is a whole different thing. When I was in active addiction, I can tell you I was a piece of crap. You know, that's who I was. But without me being that piece of crap, then I wouldn't be who I am today. So I needed to be that in order to become who I am right now, right? So me being able to recognize that and today say, hey, I'm smart and I'm capable and I can do amazing things. Affirmations is something that doesn't come so easily for addicts. We're broken, we're damaged, we're torn down. We have all these feelings that we've never addressed. We have all these issues that we've never faced. We have all this past that we don't like to look at, and it's just like, it's important for us to establish that without it, we wouldn't be where we are today. So if you're in recovery, if you're working a program, if you're out there making a difference in your community, then what happened to you was necessary. So it's important that we start with those self-affirmations. I am good. I am strong. I am capable. I am loved. That last one's important. I am loved. Okay. I am truly loved by the people around me, and I love the people around me. I love my family. I love my friends. I wouldn't change my life for anything. I even love the haters, because without the haters, I wouldn't push so hard to get where I'm at. I love everything about them. Okay. The emails I get sometimes are crazy, but whatever. It's okay. I appreciate the feedback, even if it is, I don't know, not so friendly, right? Okay. So affirmations, the triple A's. We started with affirmations, self-talk, positive reinforcements of ourselves. Now, this should be something you should do every single day. Now, if you watch a lot of motivational speakers and therapists and counselors and stuff, they'll tell you that. They'll tell you to start your day with some self-affirmations. I start my day with a devotional. I start my day with prayer, and I start my day with self-affirmations, right? Every single day, even if it's just 3, 2, whatever, I feel strong today. I'm ready for today. Whatever happens, I'm ready. I'm going to take on the world as the best as I can. I'm going to do whatever I can to make myself a better person in the world today. And I'm going to help the world that I took from for so long. Self-affirmation is very easy, and I'm out the door. You'd be surprised at how much your day is a positive day just based on that alone. You could have an absolute horrendous day in front of you, and it wouldn't matter, because you've already got the mindset and the determination from those self-affirmations to get you going throughout the day. So that's the first thing, is those self-affirmations. The second thing that we did was we made amends. Okay, so I call it the triple A, right? So we did the affirmations, self-affirmations, positive talk. Then we made our amends. This is, it's in every fellowship. It's in every 12-step group, okay? It's in every recovery program that there is. Amends. You got to make amends. And again, this should be digging deep into amends, right? It's not just your mom and your dad and your grandpa and your girlfriend, it's the people that you have wronged throughout your life that from your part, you can take responsibility for and try to right that wrong. Now, 90% of the time, if it's somebody that you don't know or haven't seen in a really long time, just tracking them down is going to be difficult. But that doesn't mean that you can't make it up to talk to God about it, right? Like you can still make amends without the person actually being there. And that's giving it to God. That's what we talk about. We want you give it all to God. You surrender to God. It's his will, it's his timing, it's who he is, it's his power, it's his strength that gives you the ability to make amends with people that maybe you don't see. What if they died? We talked about this for 2 weeks. Dan had some amazing input, and I loved it. And it's because right now that's where he's at. He lost an uncle. He was unable to make amends. Look at our other videos, YouTube, all of our channels and stuff. And it was Dan's story. That's why we started this whole amends thing. And it lasted for a long time, because what we were starting to realize is that this discussion has never really been talked about. How do you make amends with somebody who's dead? How do you make amends with somebody that doesn't want it? What is your part in everything? See, I was lucky. I had an amazing first sponsor. And this first sponsor walked me through the amends step, which is your 8th and 9th step. Oh my gosh, sorry. With your 8th and 9th step, I burped. I don't know how good the microphone is on this. Anyway, it's your 8th and 9th step, right? And the thing is when he walked me through that, the amends that I made was something that I wrote all these names down, and I just looked at what my place was in it. I couldn't decide for them to forgive me. I couldn't decide for them for how they would feel in response to my amends. But what I could do is find my part in the relationship that I had with all of these people. And it could be with anybody. To be honest, you should be giving it all to God. You want me to get real? That's why I put real recovery or let's get real on the title here. For somebody to believe that every single person has it all together and has all the answers or has everything figured out, it just doesn't make any sense. It's inaccurate. We all struggle, okay? Even the people that say, hey, I'm happy all the time, they struggle with something, right? There's something that is going on. But it's important for us to recognize those things. So throughout our life, we've had relationships and friendships and acquaintances and coworkers and all these things. And I remember a couple of incidences in my past where I worked with a guy for only like 2 days. And during that 2 days, I was not a very nice person. Well, I doubt I'm going to be able to look that person up in a phone book. I mean, I don't even remember the guy's last name, right? And try to make a direct amends with him. It doesn't make sense. But by giving it to God, to me, is making direct amends, saying that, Lord, you know who he is. God, you know who he is. And I feel sorry for that time I stole $5 out of his wallet so I could go to the vending machine when he wasn't looking. And then a couple of days later, he got fired. So he probably was wondering where that $5 was. And I mean, this is digging deep. This is what I mean by get real in your recovery. People have such short answers for recovery. There should be no short answer in your recovery. Not one. There shouldn't be one where it's just like, I feel better today, or man, I wish I would have made a difference, or it's you dig, right? It's okay to be vulnerable. And like I tell people this all the time, I am not perfect, and I work on my recovery all the time, and I still wake up and have things that I need to work on. Right now, it is a crazy time in 5R's life. There are people that come up to me every day and say, hey, you should do this, or you should change this, or why don't you do this? And it's like, you know what? I'm working on it. I'm trying. I think that's a great idea. Give me some ideas. How would you enforce this? How would you go through with this? And they don't have an answer. They're just, an idea is great, but to follow through is extremely hard. So when I say, what is your idea? And I'm interested, you should be going back to the table and coming up with some formidable resolution, or some formidable, something I can grab onto so I can take into account what you're talking about and then maybe put it to use in our recovery. I believe people in recovery are brilliant. We were at the DC last night and I talked for about 45 minutes. It's one of the longest ones I've ever talked for. And I went as deep as I possibly could. I even touched up on stories that I had never talked about. I'm going to talk about one of them right now. And this is all part of making the amends. Okay. There's a point to my useless rambling, right? God, I feel like I got a zit right there. Anyway, sorry. Maybe I should take the hat off so you guys can see my face a little bit better. Anyway, 5R, I'll just leave it like that. I don't know. Right there is good. Yeah, that's good. Got to have the advertisement. Okay. Actually, you can't see that. So there you go. How about that? Whatever. Okay, we're taking it out. Okay, it's live, people, so you never know. I gotta get a haircut. Anyway, I want to talk about this amends thing. Okay, as I'm digging in deep into my recovery, I realized that for a portion of my life, I lived in a trap house. Okay, a couple different trap houses I've lived at throughout my addiction, but there was one in particular. And if you guys have ever seen the movie Breaking Bad, there's a couple of scenes with a couple of tweakers in a house, and there's a little kid that runs around in his underwear, dirty underwear, always filthy. He comes out and he turns on the TV, and it's only one show. It's like the infomercials channel. And he sits and he's silent, right? And Jesse, one of the characters in Breaking Bad, is trying to, he feels horrible for this kid, right? And he doesn't know how to interact with the kid at first. He doesn't, because he's there to murder his parents pretty much, right? And so I remember being at a trap house, and there was this kid that ran around. I'm going to get 100% real with you, and you guys can be disgusted with me, and that's all fine. That's something I'll face. But I remember this kid running around, and I remember doing dope around him. Always tons of people there, in and out. And I remember this kid, and all he wanted to do was go to school. That's all he wanted to do. He wanted to go to school. And his school was 3 blocks up the road. And I was the crazy tweaker that lived in the garage. For some reason, him and I got connecting over Legos. Okay. This is one of those big reasons why Legos is a big thing in my life, is because this kid had very little toys. He had very little parental guidance. He had very little education. He was at many times in a very traumatic situation, cops getting called, people doing drugs all around him, people bringing stolen items to the house, bikes need to be stripped down so the cops couldn't detect them. And just, that's what I remember in my life. And all I did was I made a connection with this kid over Legos. And after making a connection with this kid over Legos, I did everything I could to get him to school every single day. And most of the time when I would walk him to school, he was always in the same clothes. He would end up being in the same clothes for 4 or 5 days. His mom was a junkie, and his dad was a junkie. And I remember this house horribly. And he used to come and knock on the garage, and he would just want me to play with him. He would want me to play Legos with him. And it was every single day. And I remember walking this kid up to the school, and I remember passing him off to a teacher. And I remember that the teachers would look at me and know, like they knew that I was a junkie. They knew I wasn't the kid's father. They knew that wherever this kid came from, that he just wanted to get to his classroom, and they wanted to give him the best possible education that they could. A couple times I would go and drop him off, and a teacher would come over and talk to me and go, look, your kid, the kid here, I still can't remember his name. I know that's horrible. I'm trying to be open and honest about my past so that you guys can see what digging deep really looks like in your active addiction and in your recovery. Okay. So I can't even remember the kid's name. And this went on for a while. I lived in this trap house for about 6 months. I did a lot of drugs, so that's why it's very vague. I don't remember and recall a bunch, but I do remember walking him to school. And sometimes these teachers would say something to me, like they'd be like, he's smelling worse than the other kids, or he's always filthy, or he's having trouble talking or responding or answering questions. Now, I'm not the kid's father. He's just a kid that lives in a trap house that I'm staying at. Talk about freaking get real in your recovery, right? You think this is comfortable for me to talk about? Like, do you think that I'm just some guy that made up the story about an active addiction, and then he gets clean and he's like, hey, I'm going to create a program to help everybody get clean. And like, I have no real life experience, or it's like, I had to dig deep into that. To this day, there's no way for me to find that kid to make amends. That kid deserves more amends than almost all the other people in the world I've ever met through my active addiction, because he was truly an innocent victim in this. And it truly made me a horrible human being to go with everything that was going on at that house. Doesn't it? I mean, how can you not feel some sort of guilt or shame or trauma from this? To me, I'm traumatized from it, and this kid was innocent. And all I wanted to do was just be one of those cool guys that played Legos with him and made sure he got to school. But there were days that he didn't get to school. There were days when I wouldn't come out and play Legos with him, because I was one of these tweakers that would fall out for multiple days on end. I was one of these tweakers that would stay up for long periods of time. And when this innocent child, this young man, this young boy wants to have somebody to connect with in a house filled with junkies, was I there for him all the time? No. That's a horrible thing to face. But that's real. That's raw. That is unedited. That is my story, and that is truth, right? That's me digging deep. There are nights where I pray solely for that young man. There are nights where I only specifically focus my thoughts and my recovery on fixing that. And is that easy? No. But you know what? It shouldn't be. Why? Why should it be easy for you to put people through the stuff that you did? I'm lucky, okay? I'm going to talk about 2 other amends. So anyway, house gets kicked in. I know, sorry, squirreling it, right? So house gets kicked in. SWAT takes everybody to jail but me, okay? I don't go to jail because I'm in the garage, which is off attached from the house. The warrant that they had was only for the house. So because the garage was not connected, which I don't know how that even makes any sense, but I didn't go to jail. My first question was, I believe his name's Anthony. Okay, I believe his name is Anthony. Oh, I think his name's Anthony. That's crazy. I think I just figured out his name. It was Anthony. That's recovery. I just learned his name just now. I just remembered it. It's crazy. Anyway, they took everybody to jail. And the first question I asked was, where's Anthony? Now, it took me to tell this story, and it took me for me to remember that I asked the officer, where's Anthony? What'd they do with this innocent kid who was dealt shitty hand because he had people like me around? People like his mom, people like his dad around. They were horrible human beings. And they were like, CPS took him, and it broke me. It broke me. And now he's a product of the system. He's exactly like the thousands of other kids that are going through the same thing. that are a product of the system, dealt shitty hands with shitty parents, and now they're a product of the system. They'll get bumped around from CPS back to the house, CPS back to the house. It's sad. But thank you, Melissa. That's good. That's God talking to you. Yes, it is. I agree. Amen. That was a trivial moment in my life. I never saw that kid again. How do you make amends with that kid? How? I don't know his last name. He's probably a teenager now. He's probably been arrested by now. He's probably, think about it. Think about what our actions do to other people. I'm sorry, but I'm passionate about my recovery. I recognize my past. And I know this might seem cheesy and everything, but this to me is what 5R stands for. Sorry. This to me is what 5R stands for. It's about the real. It's about the raw. And if you're not willing to go through what I just did right there, then you're not ready. And I'll help you. I'll meet you where you're at to help you get ready, but I'm not going to do the work for you. What I did right there, that was painful. Hurts. Should. You shouldn't feel instant relief after getting it off your chest. And you know what? I pray someday I'll run into him. And I hope he remembers me just building Legos with him. I hope he doesn't remember any of the other shit. That's horrible. Anyway, making amends. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, to me, this is not what I planned on doing today. I planned on just being like a sign-in and being like, hey, my people are gone, I'm literally not in my good clothes. I'm just chilling at the house. But to me, that's what recovery is. That's living through your past and going through it in your head and figuring it out. So I've been lucky, because the direct amends with the people in my life last weekend, I wasn't live with Dan. This was my fault. I was at a grandparent's house who the last time I saw, I kind of hustled them out of some money. And they haven't seen me since I've been clean, after I put on all this weight and my face isn't so sunk in anymore. And I got an opportunity to make direct amends to my grandparents. And what I did was I brought them into the living room. They got to see my nephew, Paxton, for the first time. Went there with my sister, and I sat them in the living room and I said, okay, are you guys ready? And they were like, yeah, what's going on? And I said, okay, part of my recovery is making direct amends wherever possible, as long as I don't harm others or myself in the process. And they were like, okay. And I sat them down and I looked at both of them and I said, you guys always unconditionally loved me. You guys were good grandparents. And I abused that and I took advantage of that. And I'm sorry. I wasn't a good person back then, but I'm a good person now. And I want to try really, really hard to be more involved in your guys' lives. I want you to know that you played a pivotal role throughout my life. And when I needed somebody, you guys were always there. And I abused that. I used that. I took advantage of that. And I don't feel good about it. But I promise I'm a different person now. And I'm ready to make life's changes. And here's what I'm doing now. Oh, shit, Melissa, you're so funny. You're the most awesome man I've ever met, Johnny. You are doing a great job. Anytime you need someone to do Saturdays with me, let me know. I love that, Melissa. That's awesome. I'm sorry. I didn't even mean to go into this, but this is kind of the recovery thing of what I'm talking about. I believe when we go to the diversion center, the people there can feel what I just said, right? Because they know it's real and they see it. That's the reality of what our addiction takes us. But thank you, Melissa. I really appreciate you. I know a lot of, I do YouTube live because, sometimes people chime in, and I absolutely appreciate Melissa, and thank you. And I hope your foot's healing good. So direct amends with my grandparents, it was, that's what I said. And they just looked at me, and grandma had a tear roll down her eye, and she goes, we always loved you. And I'm like, I know, we still always love you. And I'm like, I know, And they're like, it's really awesome that you're changing your life and you're helping others change their lives. And, we forgive you. And we're glad you're here now. And that's all that matters. And we want to be a part of your life. There it is. That's what it should look like, right? Didn't have to be too long. It wasn't sketched. I didn't read it off a piece of paper, right? Okay, so this is what I'm supposed to say. I went there and genuinely opened up my heart and became vulnerable and discussed it with them. And even got into some specifics about me taking money from them, right? Me acting like I was going to landscape their yard or whatever. And then, I didn't do anything. And then they paid me, things like that. It was direct. It was a direct amends. So that felt good. That was one of those ones I can check off of my step work. That's one I can check off of my 5-hour recovery work. I made my amends. But I took my affirmations that day before I went. I woke up and I gave myself positive affirmations. Johnny, I can do this. Psych yourself up. You got this. You're strong. You're capable. You're an amazing human being. You can do this, right? Difference between arrogance and confidence, right? I'm not arrogant, I'm confident. I put in the work. That's the difference. People who are arrogant that haven't put in the work, right? Those people are arrogant. People who have put in the work, I'm confident in my skills and what I've learned and what I've tried to change in my recovery and be a better person. And so I led with those positive affirmations. So there it is. Positive affirmations, making amends, right? The last thing is ambition. The triple A. Okay, this is just another thing that we'll talk a little bit more at 5R. If you were at our 5R meetings the last 3 weeks, then you already have done this with us, and it was pretty amazing. We had a lot of people for each group, 40, people, around 40 people every single time, about 2-hour meeting, everybody opening up their hearts. I love that. I guess I could do one more thing about amends. Amends, like today, I'm going to my other grandparents' house to watch their dogs at their house in Camino Island. I have struggled with them as well throughout my life. They were the grandparents that gave me absolutely everything during my active addiction. And to this day, I still feel weird about our relationship. The grandparents that I made amends with last weekend, it was different because I didn't see them much throughout my 20 years of active addiction. But these grandparents, Papa Keith, Grandma Sheila, who I'm going over to watch their dogs today, they have been with me through it all. They have done some crazy things to keep me alive. And I took advantage and abused everything. They've given me houses. I destroyed it. They gave me cars. I ruined it. They helped me get jobs. They helped pay off my drug dealers. I stole a bunch of dope from a guy and he put a hit out on me. And I went and got my grandpa and he said, let's go pay this guy off. And went and met him at a freaking McDonald's. I think it was a McDonald's, and paid this guy. I mean, that kind of stuff, that kind of grandparents. And I abused them. I called them all these horrible names and abused everything that I had with them, right? So even though 4 years of me making amends with them, it still doesn't feel right. It feels right with Grandpa Gary and Grandma Sherry because they didn't see me so much during my active addiction. So that amends was a lot easier to make. Making amends with somebody that you've damaged for such a long time should take a long time. If you damage somebody like my mother or like, say, my grandparents, right, for the last 20 years of my active addiction, and they forgive you in the first year, there's still more to be dug deep into. Even if they say it, even if they use the words, well, we forgive you, Johnny. Well, I think there's still work to be done because that's the reality of it. How on earth can somebody forgive you for so much damage you've done, not just to them, but the entire family? Those nights they stayed up not sleeping, wondering if you're going to be alive or not the next day. Think about that. It's pretty cruel. That's a cruel thing to do. How many people have amazing families that think about them all the time and hope the best for them, but know that deep down, there's a good chance that Johnny Ray will be dead tomorrow. There's nothing I can do about it. Think about just that. For 20 years, it's a long time. So I work very hard on making amends with my grandparents. And it's not just by me telling them. I've already told them I'm sorry and I feel bad and I admitted all the stuff I did wrong. But today, they need somebody to watch their dogs where they're on a trip. I'm on it. Boom. I don't care what I have going on. I will make an extra effort to go and show them this is me. You can rely on me, and I'm going to be there to help you out. And this is just another sign to let you know that I've worked on myself for a really, really long time. So I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to drive out to Camino and let's do it. It's not that hard of a job. Take the dogs out, feed them, water them, whatever. But I'm willing to do that, and I'm ready to do that because to me, that's another sign of making amends, making direct amends with my grandparents so that they can enjoy their trip. They don't have to worry about their dogs, and the entire time they're thinking, man, it was really nice of my grandson to go and take care of that. Boom, that's amends. That's raw recovery. That's real. That's what it is. That's what I work on. That's why I do what I do, is for those moments that are given to me by God to be able to address some situations and be able to help out. So amends, okay? I'm going to wrap this up. I can't believe I talked for 30 minutes. Actually, if you know me, talking a lot is not a struggle. Anyway, I like to talk. Anyway, so our AAAs. So we have our affirmations, we have our amends, we have our ambition, okay? The beginning, the middle, and the end. We're at ambitions now. So affirmations, positive reassurance of myself, give myself some positive feedback. My amends, to make amends with the people that I've hurt and done wrong with, right? Now we have our ambition. What is your ambition? My ambition is to take recovery to another level. My ambition is to fundamentally recreate the way we view addiction and recovery. Our balance needs to be redefined. People out in the world who are struggling need a new type of system put in place that truly tries to help people get clean. And the true way to get them to get clean is by recognizing the trauma in which I just spoke about today, to make amends that are necessary, to be able to give yourself positive affirmations, to be able to face down all the depression and anxiety and mental health problems that you've had, all that, the everything, right? That's what it is. My ambition is to teach people or to help people learn for themselves that they are fully capable of doing things no matter what, if they put in the hard work. It's one of those cliches. You get out of it what you put into it. Well, you know what, people? I put a lot of work and time into my recovery. I do. And sometimes it feels like the pushback is so much harder than it should be. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is. Sometimes I feel like I wake up in the mornings and I just want to stop. I don't want to do it anymore. And that's just the truth. I get into arguments with people over stupid things, and I put all these expectations in people, and Dad, just keep doing what you're doing, and you're doing God's work. He has forgiven you, and that's all the forgiveness you need. I agree, Dad. I agree. I appreciate God's forgiveness, but I still think it's important for me to try to make amends with the family that I care about. And, people say family is everything, and it is. God is everything, but family is everything too. Those will be the ones that are with you throughout the years, and it's important don't let your entire life go by without, being able to talk about some of the uncomfortable stuff with the family that you need to talk about things with. It's important. So my ambition, I'm going to continue it. Sometimes I don't want to do it. People think I'm out there like making money doing this. They think I'm out there just like, I'm not. I'm doing this because I love people. I met up with a person today, and I'm not going to use his name, new in recovery, amazing kid, strong-willed, good head on his shoulders. After we went through all of the stuff, first 5-hour recovery is remembering where we came from. What I do, if you call me, is I sit down with you and I break bread with you. Okay, that to me, it's biblical, it's godly, and it has to intertwine with the first R in 5-hour recovery, which is remembering where we came from. So I sit down with this kid today, and we went through everything. We went through everything from as earliest that he can remember up until now. And I saw a long history of an absent father figure in his life. A strong absence of a father figure in his mom's life, in his girlfriend's life, in his girlfriend's parents' life, right? And he literally looks at me and he's like, I'm ending that trend right now because I'm there for my kids. Powerful. That's why I do recovery. That one line. We dissected everything. We dissected so much stuff. We sat there for an hour and ate breakfast and laughed and got teary-eyed and all this stuff. But his statement is, I'm breaking that now because I'm going to be there for my kids. Was just like, boom. Like, yes, you are. Where are your kids? Up there at home right now. I'm going to go back. I'm going to pick them up from my girlfriend's house. You know, his dedication to his family, to his children, that line that's what I do it for. It made me go, man, that's awesome. Good for him, you know? So I told him I would help you out with whatever I can. I will walk along with you in this journey. I will continue to push forward with you as long as you keep doing the work, right? You do the work and I'll walk alongside you. When he left there, he felt good. I could tell he felt good. You know, he knew, he recognized something. He acknowledged something. Of course, I spit all the normal fire that everybody does in recovery, right? You should probably get a sponsor, you start working your steps, you should know, get a home group and get a meeting going. But that's not all you should do. I want you to dig deep into your life and pinpoint the events that led you up until this point. And they need to be open and honest. It needs to be the Anthony story, if you will. It has to be. You can't grow if you don't know what your past is. There's this thing called confabulation, right? Oh my God, I'm way past my time. There's this thing called confabulation, okay? And confabulation stands for honestly lying. Do you know how many people confabulate in their recovery? All of them. Most of them just can't remember all the details that happened in their life. Most of them just try to put together piece to piece of where they were, what they were doing, who they were around, what situation did they get themselves in. Drugs can really impair the timing, the days, the people, the places, the things, to where if you don't dig into your recovery and find those things by hard work and dedication to it, you'll never get better. You've got to focus on the Anthony story. If you were here for the video earlier, the Anthony story, that made me grow. That made me recognize what I did and how I'm never going to do that again. That came from me just sitting down and talking to a camera to two people. I mean, that's what it took. It took God. It took God to open you up and go, God, it's time to figure things out. That's what you should be doing. And confabulation is natural. Your story's going to change a little bit. Man, I told a couple stories last night at the diversion center I've never even told before. But the audience was interested in these specific details. I was reading my room, right? Reading the room of people. And when I start touching up on a note where I see a lady across the room start getting teary-eyed, I know that she's gone through something like I've gone through. So afterwards, after I'm done speaking, after I talk about that subject just a little bit more, I go to her right afterwards and I say, hi, I'm Johnny Ray. And she's like, thank you for coming in. That changed me. And I'm like, well, I appreciate that. But you know what? You can change others too. Why don't you get 6 months under your belt and come back in here and talk to the people that are in here? You're in here now. Go to treatment, get out of treatment, give me a call. I'll introduce you to some amazing women in recovery. And then we'll sit down, we'll have a talk, we'll share your remember story. And then you come into the diversion center and you share to the exact same people where you want to sit. Some of the most powerful testimonies at the diversion center are the people who were in the diversion center. That's amazing. That's powerful. The people that are sitting there going, God, this guy can't possibly know what I am. And it's like, actually, I sat in the exact same seat that you did. That I was there, right there, sitting where you were at. And God, I brought a guy in last night. Amazing. Shane Collins, love you. Shout out. Amazing guy. He's been in the diversion center 5 times. 5 times. You know how many people in that room have been there multiple times? But you know how many of those people heard our story? It was the same thing with Shane. It was different when we went in under 5-hour recovery because I looked directly at him and I told him exactly what was happening. I didn't spit some cliche stuff. I just talked to him like a normal human being. Most people, when they come to me, they go, you know what, Johnny? I've never actually just been heard. How sad is that? We live in a world where we want instant gratification. You know why this one says get real is because it's okay to sit in silence. Take your phone and put it away. Take your computer and your TV. Just go sit in silence for like an hour. Just an hour by yourself. Nothing on. No stimulation. Can you do it? It's hard. It's harder than you think, right? We're in a world. It's hard for me. I mean, I'm nothing special. I'm always on my phone. I'm networking, right? Networking, building relationships, creating all this stuff, environments, and doing all this stuff, networking, right? That's what I do. It's hard to just put your phone down for an hour, but we want instant gratification. So people, they need their attentions filled. So if you're not an amazing speaker, or you're not somebody that hits a nerve or speaks specifically to somebody about what they're going on, they're lost. They're tweaker tendencies. They're all over the place. Like, okay, yeah, you've got to get to them. And that takes practice, and that takes from learning from your recovery. I work really, really hard at what I'm doing, people. I don't know who's going to watch this video. I don't know. I'm going to keep doing it, though. I'm going to keep doing it forever. People are going to see this journey from beginning to end. And I feel like I did some recovery of my own today. I got to work on myself a little bit today by remembering where I came from. First hour, 5-hour recovery. Remembering where we came from. And I'll never forget. Hate me or not, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. It's just who I am. Whether it's going to be successful or not, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. I'm here to help people. That's what I want to do. I think God put me on this earth to do just that. So I'm going to continue. So thank you all for listening. I went into my 40 minutes. I can't believe I did this all by myself. God, where are my people? Probably not as entertaining as when Dan and I tease each other and make jokes, or me and Amanda are laughing about all the hysterical things. I guess I should give some shout outs. Amanda, it's your birthday today. Much love and respect for you. You're doing amazing things. Keep it up. We'll talk about other things. Dan, love you. I know you're dealing with family issues right now. I hope it goes easy for you guys. Looking forward to working more closely with you at your guys' clean and sober living facility. Diversion centers Friday nights are rocking. I've had the staff say that there's a serious morale boost right after we leave. You can actually see the patients come up to the counters and tell the staff that they really enjoy 5-hour recovery. And that blesses my heart, and our Tuesday night meetings, when you go there and there's a couple of people that just got out of the diversion center and they showed up, that means we made an impact. That's big. I love that. So Tuesday night meetings, 6:30, New Life Church. Come check us out. Come talk about some of the stuff that we just talked about right now. I think this week we're going to do positive affirmations for others. I think what we're going to do is we're literally just going to sit in a circle and give each other compliments. Wouldn't that be cool? Thank you, Melissa. I appreciate it. I love you too. I hope somebody heard something good off here. I know I got a little hysterical there, but yeah, I faced down some facts. So I'm Johnny Ray, 5-hour recovery. Check us out. Working on the website. Website's going to have to be big. I got a guy, Brad. Shout out to Brad. He's working on it for me. That's gonna be huge once we get that up and running. And then we're gonna plan some events and do some fun stuff. So thank you all for listening. I appreciate you working recovery and supporting 5R. So thank you all and have a good day. Bye.